Hello, I'm Christine Schiavone, and our show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight we're going to talk about healing energies, and I have a brand new guest with me tonight, someone I'm sure that you'll enjoy hearing from. His name is Joe Rubino, and I'd like to say hello and welcome to him right now. Hello, Joe.
Hi, thank you.
Nice to have you on the show tonight.
It's great to be here.
Now, we're going to talk tonight about healing energies. Now, let me explain to our audience that you did come and do a session for me of your healing energies, and I did feel the energy. I'll put it that way. It was a great energy. It was a very good and wonderful, pure and powerful energy. And I would like you to tell us all about what you were doing that night when you gave me that session of healing energy, and what kind of energies were you using?
That night I gave you a reconnection. It's a reconnection healing that you kind of use the whole spectrum of energies that come down. It's like, I always imagine it like a rainbow. And so there's 7 different frequencies coming down. There's many more, but we'll just say for the rainbow. And so the reconnection is, you just get the full spectrum of energy coming right down into your body. And the energy, as you know, has an intelligence of its own, so it goes where it needs to go in your body.
Now, you use energies like you were saying Tai Chi and Qigong. Tell us about these energies and what they do for you.
Okay, well, in that spectrum of energy, there's 7, say 7 again. So from Tai Chi, you basically always you use Qigong. So Qigong is just another healing energy, one of those spectrums. Like Reiki would be another spectrum, polarity, any healing energy or any energy modality would be one of those.
All right, so you use all these energies. Explain to us what each of these energies, like for instance, I'm a Reiki master. I do Reiki, and Reiki is a male energy. And I also do magnified healing, which is a female energy. And so we know that that Reiki can be is a certain kind of energy. What about the other energies?
Well, it's the frequencies that make the difference, I think. And so each frequency has a different color. Reiki is very high energy.
Yes.
Integrated energy therapy is very high, angel therapy. What was that other one that you used? That's
Reiki, magnified healing.
The magnified healing, yeah. You gave me that tape, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another frequency of energy. So, and each one of those energies actually splits yin and yang. It's not just one's male and one female. Within the female, there's always going to be a little male, and within the male, there will be a little female.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
there's
true
always
of
a
everybody.
dominating one, but
yes.
There's definitely going to be mixed.
Right.
In a way.
So then now, when you use these energies, now I was lying on the table, face up, and I had my eyes closed, and you were just waving your hands over, and I could feel the energies you were using. Now you're calling down 7 different energies to heal the person that's lying on the table receiving the energy.
I'm there to hold the energy. The energies are here.
Right.
And if you need an equation of 3, so it's like there has to be 3 people. So there has to be 2 people and the energy. So you can do it by yourself, but it's more powerful if somebody just holds the energy.
Right.
So that's why I'm basically off your body. I could be pretty far away from your body. In fact, the further away I can get, the stronger the energies just get to do what they do, and I stay out of it.
Really?
Well, in Qigong, you're pretty close to the body, and you could be away too. But when you go close, so if you come in with an elbow, I have a problem with my elbow. So if I focus on the elbow, then I'm just focusing here. Whereas if I move back in the reconnection, if I move back and just say, "Oh, I hope it goes to your elbow," and the energy comes in and goes where it's supposed to go. Maybe the elbow isn't your problem. Your elbow's somewhere else. Is the problem. The problem with your elbow is somewhere else.
It could be like a referred pain of some sort.
Absolutely. It's probably.
Right, right.
It could be anything. It could be emotional. It could be a spiritual problem that's manifesting in the elbow or your knee or something.
That's interesting. In other words, it doesn't have to be a physical problem. It could be like a mind over matter kind of thing? Or so
I wouldn't say, yeah,
psychosomatic.
okay, yeah, it's like that. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's mind over matter because things happen in the energy field first. If you don't deal with them in the energy field, then they start manifesting in your body.
All right. So, can you elaborate on that now? How about this energy field? You're saying that if things don't, you take the energy field and you use that to manifest healing in a person. Okay. Now, are you saying that then there's energy all around us, and we just have to be able to manifest that energy so that we can heal?
Right. Yeah, so the energy that's in your energy field, like say I do something that I feel guilty about, and I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I do it anyway. And then I do it again and again and again and again and again. So whatever, it's building up somewhere. It's not building up in my physical body yet. It starts going in my aura. That's when you see people who read auras, or you could take a picture now of the aura. There's splits in the aura, or it's dark at certain points, or it's just not fluid.
Right.
Well, that's the stuff manifesting, starting to grow up in the aura. And eventually, if you don't deal with whatever the problem is, physical, emotional, psychological, or spiritual,
Right.
then it starts manifesting in the physical. And you feel, I got headaches, I keep falling, I keep hurting my knee, all of a sudden my back hurts, and there's physical reasons why that might happen, or maybe the manifestation comes from the energy field that's making that weak, that part of your body weak. So when you do fall, you get hurt. Whereas you might fall, if you weren't weak, you would just fall, and okay, maybe you can get up.
Yeah, right, because you don't have to have something wrong with you to trip over something. You just have
Correct.
to not be watching where you're going,
Correct.
or be in a position where whatever you tripped over is
Right.
not able to be seen. So other than that, though, if you find yourself doing that a lot, in other words, what you're saying is when we're having a lot of accidents or having a lot of mishaps and things like that, you're saying that that when these kind of things happen, it's because we are living in some way, bringing about these things to ourselves by what we're doing in our lives, and that affects our energy field.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, because you're getting messages all the time. I mean, if you think of anything big that's happened to you, any ailment or an accident maybe you had, there's always something you could go back and say in the back of your head. There was some little flash that said, no, don't go that way. No, take the highway. Don't make a left, I should make a right. And you used your logic brain and said, no, if I make a left, it's quicker, and blah, 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 and then you had an accident. Mm-hmm. Or there was traffic, or whatever, simple things like that.
Oh, it's the same thing, like if you're riding down the street and you're going at a pretty smooth pace, and all of a sudden, 2 blocks ahead, a car pulls out in front of you and starts going real slow and slows you up. And you have to, instead of getting angry, think to yourself, well, maybe this car was put here to slow me up so that I won't get into an accident down the road. This might be stopping me. Instead of getting all upset that this slowpoke got in front of you,
Yeah, that's great if you could keep that in mind.
I try to.
It's a little
I try
hard.
to. Yes, it is a little hard, but then I sit there and I remind myself, it could be that this person is put there because they're trying to make me avoid having an accident or get into some kind of trouble.
That's right. So yeah, and then you're going to say, okay, well, how could that possibly happen? Like, why are you getting that? Where are you getting that message from? You know the future? Or maybe there's guides around you that are saying, you got to slow up?
Sure.
So whatever it is, whatever you believe, I mean, there's a lot of different theories. And with quantum physics now becoming way more popular and a little bit more understandable to the masses, then you could see how this could be a scientific study of like, well, yeah, 2 blocks away, something's going to happen if you went 30 miles an hour. But if you went 25 miles an hour, you miss it.
Right.
Where does that come from?
Right, exactly.
Who's designing that?
Well, I guess it's God in the universe watching over us, and we just have to be able to pick up the messages that come. And when we do, then we're okay, Now, when you do a session with a person, and you're giving them healing. Now, tell us about. You said that what you did to me was what kind of a healing?
Reconnection.
Reconnection. Now, that was to reconnect me, kind of ground me a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I guess reconnection could be all your chakras sort of balancing out.
Mm-hmm.
The acupressure points balancing out and connecting to your physical body gets connected, like a reflexology, or if I touch this, it's reflecting somewhere in my body. Well, that all works, and the reconnection goes to the next level, which is maybe a mental level. So as it manifests out of your body, it goes into the first level mental, making that connection to you. And then it goes a little bit higher and it goes into the emotional level, which is maybe 2 feet away from your body, and you make a connection to that emotional stuff that could happen within the next few days or weeks after the session. And then it goes up to the next level, which was spiritual level. It just makes all the connections.
Oh, in other words, it reconnects and it hits everything, hits
It's
every
trying to hit
level of
everything,
help
every
that you
level.
might need.
And why not? Because you're getting the full spectrum of energies.
Right, right. Well, I did feel the energy when you were doing that,
Yeah.
and sometimes I even felt a breeze.
But don't forget, also, you're open to it.
That's true.
I mean, I've had people lay on my table and get off the table and they don't feel anything.
Well, I mean, if they're going to go and do something and not be open to it, they shouldn't do it, right?
Yeah, they just can't. Sometimes they just can't believe that. This looks a little bit too funny to them. It's like, or this, or say you stick your hand out and I go like this. Well, why would you feel anything? I'm not touching you.
No,
why,
but I
why
do
would you
feel an energy.
Well, of course you will, but not. And,
Well, I'm
and most people who
sensitive
are
to it.
interested in it will feel it and be sensitive. But a lot of people are not. It's pretty funny.
Well, if someone, like say you were sitting with a friend and you said, tell your friend, hold your hands like this, and I'm going to put my hand in between, they would feel their friend's energy.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, with magnified healing, what we do is we do manifest the energy in our hands in the form of almost a ball that we can pass back and forth
Perfect.
through our hands like
Yeah.
that. And then we imagine ourselves lining up all the people that we want to heal or that want healing, with ourselves being first. And we're only 2 inches high, and just have a line of people,
that's good.
people, places, things, animals, whatever you want to put on that line,
Oh, okay.
and you bounce the ball back and forth, from head to toe,
Perfect.
healing everybody and everything. And
It's perfect.
it is perfect. It is,
Yeah.
and you could feel the energy going back and forth between your hands, and it's a great thing. Now, besides the reconnection healing, is there any other kind of healing that you do?
The people who don't feel or are not sensitive enough or not open to this kind of work, I use Jin Jitsu, which is pressure points more, so you could actually touch the body.
Mm-hmm.
So within Jinshin, you can, I could move into the Qigong, which you could come off the body, and then you're saying to yourself, well, what do I feel? Do I feel energy going in? Do I feel energy coming out? So it helps you to concentrate and stay, focused, because you're feeling the stuff. So you kind of could stay focused by saying, oh, now I feel energy being drawn in, or whatever. Then there's IET, which is integrated energy therapy, which is really nice because you can go to different levels very easy.
How's that?
Well, IET is the one that where I kind of learned where, the first level is mental, and then the second, what I was saying before, the second level was emotional, and then it goes out to the spiritual, and then it goes out to kind of a past life. It depends on who's on the table, how deep do you go with the person, how much can they take in.
In other words, you can take people into past lives.
I don't particularly do that. What I do is I can say that, well, sometimes I pick the feelings up that you brought something in from a past life. I won't take them now, I don't do that, but I could anybody can feel, it's like, in other words, if the pressure's here and it's free, but the problem, say, is my shoulder, say the problem is your shoulder, and I come up this far and it's like, well, I don't feel anything. And I still don't feel anything. But now it's starting to get a little heavy. So then I can say, okay, well, you're already up in the spiritual land. You're in the spiritual body. And then I go a little further out and say, well, now there's a really big pull, and saying, okay, well, this is now a past life thing. And sometimes they will give you the information. And then I can refer it back to you and say, well, you came in with this. You came in with this issue that you wanted to deal with.
In other words, you were born with this issue.
You brought it in.
When
Not
you
born physically with a physical ailment. You brought this issue in to deal with.
on a spiritual level.
On a spiritual level.
So that could be
That's
from
if you
birth,
believe in
then.
reincarnation, of course.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's been. I mean, there was a time that I didn't, but I think I do now, because I've had a few sessions with a friend that that does it, and I've seen some things, and I think, you know, and I think it makes sense at this point in time.
Yeah. And the theory doesn't make sense without it, sort of.
Yeah, yeah.
It really
So
doesn't.
when you have somebody, you know, that you're treating, and you do find a past life issue that they've brought with them, let's say that they brought with them from then into birth to the point, that point, and now they're ailing, and you're giving them a healing, and you're saying, well, now I'm feeling that your problem comes from a past life issue. Then what?
I guess I play it by ear and see how they take, well, you know, I work
The
up to it.
information.
Yeah, and so I don't want to let, you know, if they don't believe in that, why, I wouldn't want to force that on them. So through the, I think I wouldn't get the information unless they could handle it.
Yeah.
That's what seems to happen to me.
Okay.
So if I get a flash, I'm like, oh, okay. I try it out on them if they seem to be open to it and they can relate it. And it's amazing that people then would say, oh yeah, well this, then they start giving you the line where it happened. Oh yeah, well when I was 12 and when I, you know, they go back right away.
And they'll recognize.
They do it themselves. I don't do anything. All I know is, well, this still is way out here and you might have brought this in. Why would you want that? You know, and if they come up with an answer, fine. And if they don't, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Maybe something they could think about a year from now. Who knows?
That's true. You never know when all of a sudden you
Yes.
say, hey, at that point, this happened, and
Yeah.
oh, wow, I didn't realize it then, but now it's coming to me, yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yep, yep, I know what you mean. So then when you do get to that point, though, with somebody, have you had people that really like felt like a healing happened because then they finally realized what was causing their ailment?
Yeah. Yeah. This one, I don't know if I can talk about it, but
You can talk about cases without mentioning names.
So one woman, I went out on Long Island, and she was really more worried about her daughter than she was about herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept saying how much stress she thought she had, but she didn't really, it was really for her daughter. But her daughter didn't want to have a session with me. She wanted a female or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the mother decided to take it anyway. And I gave her a normal session, and she, you know, she was okay, blah, blah, blah. And I went home. I didn't know. She didn't really give me any information. And she calls me back like a week later and says how, you know, how things just kind of opened up for her. She understood all her stuff about the daughter and why the daughter is in this position, and it was okay. Like she became much more tolerant and able to deal with the daughter's illness herself.
Mm-hmm,
you know, hopefully that would help the daughter out. I mean, so yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, yeah. Have you had anyone who right then and there got up and said, I feel healed? You know.
Well,
in
I've
one
had
way.
people who immediately get up and say, well, their knee feels better, and they're walking around, or their shoulder, or
Stuff like that.
stuff like that always happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are the energies that now you said you use Qigong, you use Tai Chi, you use Reiki. What are the other energies that you
Jinshin Jitsu I like a lot because it's you're actually touching like pressure points, acupressure points,
Yeah.
and you get to feel a pulse. And sometimes I get way more information about a person if I touch them. So it's fun for me to do that, touch them
And get.
and get the information. And then I could see, well, I could refer it back to them or mirror it back to them if
Well, what kind of information comes to you when you touch a person?
well, the first thing, okay, so I worked on a senior a couple of years ago. She hurt her shoulder, and she has a lot of ailments. But I went there because she couldn't deal with her shoulder anymore. From what I remember, I walked in, started moving around her body, and as soon as I went on the shoulder, there was something that just said, there's something you're not doing. This is a senior citizen. And I was like, okay, I don't know what else, but it was like this, I just had to say, it was something you're not doing. And she's looking at me, and I said, I don't know what it is. Maybe you're not going somewhere you want to go, or you're not saying something. Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, because it did move over to the throat. So I assumed that it was a communication thing with her. And I don't know anything about it. She's in my Tai Chi class, we do exercises, and I thought I could help her shoulder, so I gave it a session. Anyway, so as I'm working on her shoulder, I drifted over, and now I'm on her throat, working with the throat chakra. And so then communication just kept saying, it's like, well, there's something you're not doing. There's something you're not saying. There's something, or maybe you're saying too much, because I don't really know. It just has to do with communication. And towards the end of the set, she's almost like crying then, because it's something with her daughter that they had this big fight, and she's not, putting the relationship back together, and she's just being sort of nasty about it. And I said, well, that's what's being stuck here. It's stuck in this whole area, and so that kind of stuff comes sometimes, not all the time.
Any follow-up on her? Did she make up with the daughter?
Well, she's in my class, and she tried to call her up, and now, of course, now the daughter was going back. I don't really remember what happened, but I remember the first session after that was the daughter was like giving her a hard time, and I think eventually the daughter did come back to Rockaway, and they made up. I haven't heard about it. She hasn't told me.
Okay, but
that was about a year ago.
Did her shoulder get better then?
Yes, she hasn't been complaining about her shoulder. She's got so many other ailments.
That's become secondary.
Yeah, that's secondary now. She's on to something else.
Yeah, well, some people have to have something to complain about.
Well, she's up there, so.
No, of course.
Yeah.
God bless her. Anyway, but so tell me about the other energies then. What other energies are you working with?
Well, I use the Qigong a lot because, of course, the Qigong is from Tai Chi. So I've been practicing that a long time, so I can feel that pretty easy. And what I like about the Qigong is you're using your hands a lot to feel stuff, and basically, you get so sensitive in your hands, you use them as a gauge. So if I walk in, like I was sitting in there getting nervous about the show, and it's like, okay, well, what do my hands feel like? Well, what do my hands feel like around with these guys walking around and, people walking around getting ready to do the show? What is that all about for me? And my hands was like clear. It was very clear. It's like there's a lot of good energy around in this place, even though it's kind of scary.
No, we have wonderful crew people here.
Oh,
we have a great camaraderie among us, and it's a great thing.
It's easy to see and it's easy to feel.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me calm down a little bit, a lot actually. And
well, especially tonight. There's all good energies here tonight.
Yeah. And so that's just a tool. So if I was there, and my hands would maybe start getting damp or clammy, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? Well, I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody walked into a room and said, well, okay, what's this? I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You get all kind of messages when negative stuff is coming around you.
So you pick these things up from people then when you're in
Oh, totally. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Use it all the time. And as soon as you do that, that's your protection as well. As soon as you go in, in Tai Chi, it's funny because Tai Chi uses the third eye, and most people think the third eye is the spiritual connection and it goes out like this. Well, in Tai Chi, you're basically turning the eye around and you look inside. So you're always saying, what do my hands feel like? What do my feet feel like? Is my body moving in units? You're constantly trying to be aware of your own body. So, and as soon as you do that, it's total protection. There's no, like, I don't have any, I used to have little rituals I used to do that you're taught in all these different modalities to do. And there's nothing wrong with them. And I used to do them, and
maybe you just don't have a need for them anymore.
No, because the third eye takes care of that. I'm saying the third eye, but it's just thinking about in other words, if you do the reconnection and I go like this, I'm totally protected. All I'm thinking about is my hands and nothing. It's an automatic block. It's an automatic aura. It's an automatic orb around me, and I don't pick anything up. And that's from kind of being aware of what your hands feel like all the time. It's very simple. You just keep asking yourself, well, how do your hands feel? How do your hands feel? How do your hands feel? How do they feel when you're mad at somebody, how do they feel when you feel good? How do they feel when you're watching TV? How do your hands feel when you're walking down the street?
I never thought of that. So tell me the different ways your hands feel during different kinds of.
Okay, well, if I went like this and closed my eyes and took a breath in and a breath out, and anybody could do it, and it's very simple. And you just say you take 4 breaths in and 4 breaths out, and then on the last breath you take one more, and you breathe in and you breathe out, and just ask yourself, how do your hands feel? Maybe you got to close your eyes, and a lot of times you answer, oh, I don't feel nothing. Okay, so sometimes you don't feel nothing, but if you just kind of listen to your hands, you're going to get something. There's some vibration, blood's gushing around your hand, or your heart beats,
Like everywhere
blood's
else.
gushing around all over.
Right.
We don't feel nothing, we're pretty unconscious. So this is just an awareness, it's kind of a simple awareness exercise. And the benefits are unbelievable, because after a while you just get to use this.
Well, give me examples of how your hands feel during different encounters, let's say.
Okay, so most of the time now they vibrate. I just feel it as a vibration. I think we all probably feel the same thing. We just describe it in different ways.
Well, we all are energy, so we all vibrate.
We're all vibrating.
Just have to be more aware.
So exactly. So some people feel warm, some feel cool, some people feel tingling in their fingertips, some people could feel the palms tingling. Sometimes it feels like a weight, like that ball, that ping pong ball that you're bouncing back and forth.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, so when you do the ping pong ball, you're actually almost feeling like an indentation going in.
Oh
one
yeah,
hand and one-
absolutely.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
could feel like a ball
Yeah.
of energy, a little bit bigger than a ping pong ball, but I could feel a ball of energy when I do it. But I have to do the 20-minute ritual to get the magnified healing energy. With Reiki, you just have to call it in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, well, because the magnified healing, you're focusing in on one spectrum, so you might have to work up to that spectrum. I can understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be in a certain place, and yeah. But the other energies, you can come in and say, oh, what does this room feel like? Oh, my hands feel pretty nice, or warm. Not, clammy could be for me, and it might not be for you, but clammy for me is kind of more going towards a little bit on the negative side, maybe dampness. The hands could be wet, but not clammy, and that could be more on the positive.
So in other words, you think that we can go, like say for instance, into a room of people and be able to tell what kind of people we're with just by the way our hands feel? Or what kind of a situation we're in just by the way our hands feel?
Yeah, if you worked with your hands enough, sure.
And,
yeah, why not?
and if you're open to it and aware of it,
Yeah, why not?
and actually just come right out and ask that question.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a perfect example. We used to do a Tai Chi class in the park out in Bay Ridge. They used to have a Zen garden there. For a couple of years, we never went near the Zen garden. We always went on the grass. And we do all these Qigong, like yours with the people in that. That's a great image. And I hope you don't mind if I use that.
No, not at all, not at all.
But anyway, so we do a lot of that kind of stuff. And we did it for years. And then a couple of years ago, we for some reason, we couldn't go on the grass. We went in front of the Zen garden. So now I'm standing in front of the garden doing my typical Tai Chi, whatever. And I'm like, my hands are like vibrating, like they don't usually vibrate. Way more powerful. So then I kept asking, my students, oh, does everybody feel this, or is it me? Because you never know. I need verification all the time. So being in front of the Zen garden produced so much more energy in your hands. So then you know that, well, we can just walk over there, 50 yards and go on the grass and not feel. You're going to still feel yourself and whatever you feel, but when you go over there, it's totally different. And now they dismantled the garden, and last year we had a couple of classes there, and the energy's not there anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't repair it totally back to where it was normally. I don't know if it is now yet. We haven't gone in there, but when we went back, the energy wasn't there.
You should try going over to Snug Harbor we have on Staten Island.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone there?
No.
There's a nice energy over there, and they have the Chinese garden over there and everything.
Yeah, my wife was just saying that we have to get over there.
Oh, you should, absolutely. It's a nice place, it really is. It's on a nice day especially, it's a nice place to go to. Yeah. So then, then you must. How long did you train for all of this? That you are able to do this.
Embarrassed to say that. I started Tai Chi when I was about 20 years old, and the school that I went to didn't really concentrate on the healing part of Qigong. It was more of a martial art kind of aspect. So after maybe 15 or 20 years of that, I started to teach in senior centers. And so then I had to realize, well, I have to change my mental adjustment over to healing, and you're doing Tai Chi for health, because they definitely weren't going to learn this Tai Chi for martial art, and they couldn't do,
Right.
I had to like adjust myself. And there was a woman in my first class who, actually my second class, who asked me if I ever, this is a funny thing about the seniors, she said, did I ever notice about this Jin Shin Jitsu pressure points? And I said, no. She goes, oh, I got a book, I'll bring it into you. I said, okay. She wouldn't bring me in the book. I guess she was afraid I was going to take the book, so she brings me in a photostatic copy of the cover.
Oh, no.
I love it. She's great. Anyway, so I went and I bought the book, and it was all about pressure points, like I said, and I immediately started doing them on myself and teaching them. And people say, oh yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, that makes me feel better, or that, that's my shoulder feel better, my arm, just little simple complaints like that. And then I realized, well, it was a really good meditation, because the Tai Chi is about going in, and it's like, well, here's Jin Shin Jitsu, where you grab a finger and you wait until you feel a pulse, and you grab another finger until you feel a pulse. It's
Feel
very
pulses in your fingers?
You feel the pulses in your fingers.
Really?
Yeah.
We should try that.
Yeah, you could try that. Just grab any finger. Each finger relates to something, but it doesn't matter. You just grab one, and you just wait. And you don't really care if you think the pulse is in your palm or the pulse is in the fingers. You're just waiting. If you want to be totally accurate, then you would use the fingertips to go like this and say, okay, you're waiting to feel a pulse, like a doctor would test your pulse, like this, because there's no pulse in your fingers. So then you would know. But I don't even concern myself with that. I just go like this and say, well, I'm waiting to feel a pulse. And you're supposed to open up each finger every day, get a pulse on each finger.
Really?
Sure.
Now, what does that do for you?
It's like reflexology. It's opening up your whole system. So each finger and the palm is related to the 12 meridians going around your body.
Really?
And this opens up there's 2 on each one.
Oh, interesting. That's
and you do really both sides, very simple. This is all the stuff. This is why I had to start the workshop, because in the workshop then I could say, okay, we do this first, we do the pressure points first, learn a few points where they, wherever they are, and maybe somebody has a certain problem that we could work on in the workshop, and so we do that, and then we move on to the next one, which was like you're saying with the Qigong. I would say it is, that you can feel something. It's like in Tai Chi, it would be called connection within separation. It's like your fingers are connected and your palms are connected, and then you start separating, but you can still feel that power and the energy connecting. So it's a connection within a separation. So then you get this kind of feeling. Then you have a partner, and you can go around, like you were saying before, if somebody puts your hand in there, you can feel it. There's no doubt about it. You ride up the arm, it causes heat, it causes tingling, vibrating palm. And what's that doing? It's sending blood and energy down to the body.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to work in Coney Island Hospital. You couldn't say energy. So everything was about blood circulating. They were okay with that. So I have a wrist problem. Well, I got to get blood then past the wrist. It's a simple thing. I got to get to the fingertip. I got a problem here. I got to get blood past here. I got a problem here. I got to get blood past here. Right? So I got a problem here. I got to get blood past it. I got a problem on my leg. I got to get blood down to my feet. So we're really interested in getting circulation down to the extremities. It's called the 5 gates. It's 2 hands, 2 feet, and top of your head. And you're trying to open those gates.
And you do that by getting the pulse on each finger?
You can do that by getting the pulse on each finger starts the opening, but the gates just open after a while when you say, okay, well, what do my feet feel like? And your mind goes down to your feet, because you have to figure it out, you have to think about it. What do they feel like? You feel your shoes, you feel your socks, you feel where the body touches the ground. That sends blood and energy down to your feet.
So just by thinking about the extremities, you're sending blood there. So if you're having a blood circulation problem, just to sit and think about the extremities will bring more blood to them. Oh, it's worth a try, right?
No, it's classic biofeedback, right? So it's measured. It's not anything mystical. It's not even energy. It's blood. It's like, okay, if I look at my hand, blood's going to my hand.
Right.
I mean, it's measured. I mean, it's not even. It's not a mystical thing at all. So if you start really concentrating and say, okay, well, what does my hand really feel like now? Well, now I feel kind of like a coolness, or I feel like something's kind of pressing down on my hand a little bit. Now it's kind of crystallizing and kind of moving a little like that. And now when I do that, I feel I feel this other mode. And that's a very simple exercise. If you go, and everybody feels this, and everybody feels it right away, all you got to do is put your palm up. And you just close your eyes for a second or two, take a few breaths, and say, okay, what does your palm feel like? Maybe you don't feel nothing. And then you start going like this with your other hand. So you go down and you can make circles, you can go back and forth like this, you could just go around, and all of a sudden you start feeling the activity in this palm, so you don't touch it. Maybe you got to go real close the first time because you don't believe that you could have access to this magnetic field that's around us, biomagnetic field, and now you're in the field. So you got to feel something because you're moving something. So, okay, I'm doing this and I feel a little sensation in my palm. Well, my elbow hurts. Well, then I bring this up here and I try to play around with this. So within a few minutes, you're meditating and creating blood circulating down there. Or maybe you're in a wheelchair and you don't have any access to touching your feet. So then you're using your mind. That's another level that just keeps going higher and higher.
Mm-hmm. So if you're in a wheelchair and you can't touch your feet, but you'd like to get more blood circulation,
how do your feet feel? That's the first question.
Ask yourself how your feet feel.
How do your feet feel?
And that alone will start more blood going to the feet.
Your mind's got to go down there to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
And your first answer, you're going to think it's stupid and you're going to no, I don't feel nothing. Okay, take a few breaths. Close your eyes. How do your feet feel? You feel your shoes? Maybe, you have to have feeling down there. Of course, if you have a nerve problem, you don't have any feelings. That's going to be different. Then you'd have to just use your imagination that blood's gushing down to your feet and then blood gushing back up. Mm-hmm. I have an MS person that I deal with, and that's what she has to do to get feeling down in her legs.
Almost like the ocean going back and forth.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, like the waves.
Fluid.
Right.
Water. We're 75% water, so
that's true.
We can get ourselves to have that motion. Even it's funny because even just you saying that, so that goes in my mind, this wave, and now I feel something in my leg.
Uh-huh.
Because the way, that's because of the work. Because of all the work I do, that's the way I get. It's like, a wave. Oh yeah, so what's that wave? Oh yeah. It's like automatic to me now.
Yeah.
And that's the way it would get to anybody. It's supposed to be a habit. Like the pressure points, it's got to be a habit. You got to use it to relax.
So when somebody gets up in the morning, they want to get some more blood going, especially to get moving too. Sometimes you get up in the morning and you don't know, you're sitting there and you're trying to have your coffee and you're trying to get motivated and moving. So maybe something like this gets the blood going and you do get motivated, a little more energy maybe. And so what would you do? Sit there and just go like this with each finger?
The easiest thing, the simplest thing would be to not do anything and just say, well, what do your feet feel like? And then you kind of feel like, well, you can feel yourself laying flat on the bed. So what does it feel like if something comes up your back and goes to the top of your head? So what does the top of your head feel like?